Hello everybody, welcome to part 2 of the Sea Princess necklace, where we're going to be working on the chain section here. So you will need some of the little horse-eye shapes out of the pack that I showed you in the first half. And if you haven't watched the first part, I'll put a link up here so you can go and watch that first, okay? Because it goes over all the materials and everything for you. So we're kind of just continuing on. We just did this section in part 1. So we're just going to be doing this section in part 2, okay? So yeah, you're going to need a few of these, and it really depends how many you want. Like I'm probably only going to have 2, and then the rest is just going to be this motif here. So in this video, we're going to learn how to make this motif, and we're going to learn how to make this motif, and then we're going to learn how to put it all together in a chain. So I'm going to go ahead and start by showing you, because you have to do this before you do anything else, okay? Okay, so with our little motif out of our shapes that we have, you'll notice that one side does have decoration and is more sparkly than the other side. And you are going to need to note that, because if you want to do 2 different directions like I've done here, you're going to want to pay attention to what is the front. And I'll go over that in a second, but see, these are 2 different ones. It would be the same if I flipped it over, but then the back is not the sparkly side. So I will show you how to do, pick the correct, I'll show you how to make both sides so that you can, have a matching pair if you want. You can do them both the same way on one side and the same way on the other, or you can do them like I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna do like alternating. So the one on this side will also go up and down. The one on this bit will go sideways, just for a bit of interest. I mean, I could have done them both the same way, but I think it looks more neat having them kind of going in 2 different directions. I think it's more fun. Okay, so we're going to be brick stitching again. So you can either begin by tying a knot like we did on the last one. I find that this area gets a little clogged up if we tie a knot. So what I'm doing for these is I'm just picking up one of my seed beads. I'm kind of going underneath the form and just hold that seed bead in place, okay, until you have a tail. And then I'm just going back through the same seed bead again so that it is hooked onto my form, okay? So see how it's joined, but I could pull it off if I wanted to. I have to kind of hold the tail, at least at the start. I'm going to have to hold on to this tail so that it doesn't fall off, okay? So just be careful when you're doing this that you don't let go. If you're not confident doing this, then I would just recommend just tying a knot like we did before, okay? So it's basically the same as what we did for the diamond. We're going to do 4 blue, 1 gold, 4 blue, 1 gold at the point, 4 blue, 1 gold, 4 blue, 1 gold. And we are, it's very tight. So don't, especially at the ends, kind of try and keep it a little bit looser, because your gold one may have to stick up a little bit at the end here, okay? So once you've got your first one on and you're holding your tail, you're just going to pick up your next blue bead, same as we did before. You're going under the form, kind of pressing up against it, and then back up through that bead that you just added. And make sure you're going back up the side where the thread is going underneath the form. Okay, so I went under here, and then I'm going back into the same hole that thread came out of. And here I can just slide this around a little if it's not quite in the right place. Okay, so now it's less likely to fall off because we have our first one on, so you don't need to have a death grip on your on your tail anymore. I like to hold it anyway just to keep it out of my way. Okay, so again, pick up a seed bead, go ahead, push underneath your form, and then you can go back up through that seed bead, okay, and pull it nice and tight. Okay, so one more, and then we're gonna do a gold one. So I'm just gonna whip through this because I think you guys, if you've already done part one, then you have got a grip on the technique of brick stitching around a shape. This chain, it's not difficult, but you are going to need a bit of patience because it's just a bit involved, I guess I should say. A little, it's not a simple plain chain, but then it doesn't look like a simple plain chain either. So unfortunately, you just need to do the work to get the nice look, unfortunately. Okay, so I did my gold, and then I'm doing my 4 blue, okay? And as usual, somebody is using some kind of, I don't know, chainsaw, lawnmower, something outside. My neighborhood is always very noisy. It is kind of surprising how much noise there is all the time. But the good news is that the house next door that some people bought and flipped, it's now for sale, so they're not doing any work there anymore. So that, I'm hoping it'll sell, and then hopefully we'll get some nice new neighbors. Okay, so at the point, you're just going to add a gold bead. And I'm going to kind of leave it a little bit loose like this because I want to make sure I have enough room. So the fact that it's sticking up a little bit like is okay. All right. So now I'm going to repeat on this side. I'm going to continue on, do 4, 1, 4, and then a gold one on the end. So I'll leave you to do that, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I'm just about to do my last blue, and then I will be adding on my last gold bead. So I really, as I was working, I really tried to smush my beads away from this point so that I would have enough space on one of mine. It didn't sit very well at first, but if you just kind of massage it with your finger and sort of move the beads around, that you can move your brick stitch around a little bit. So if it's a little tight in one spot, you can kind of massage it and it'll come together. Okay, so here I am. I'm going into my gold bead, and then I just have to attach it onto the first bead. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another brick stitch. So I'm going down and under the form, and then I'm going to go over the form and back up through that bead. And that's just going to make sure that that is a-okay joined on. Okay, all right. So now you have to kind of decide which way you want your lines to go. So it doesn't matter for the first one which way you go, okay? So because I'm already on this side, I'm going to go down here. When we're moving down to this side gold bead is what we're doing. So I'm just going up and down each of the beads. Okay. And here I need to turn around because I'm going to want to come out of this bead. So I'm just going to do a little brick stitch right here. So I'm going down the bead under the form, and then I'm going back through that bead. So I'm just stitching around the form, and then I'm in a position where I'm going to come out through the gold bead, and I want to come out underneath the form, okay, because we want as much sparkle on the front as possible. So come from under your form. Okay, so we're going to pick up 5 of our accent bead, which for me is this, I believe it is called a Smoky Gray Alabaster or something like that. I've put it down below for you. And it's such a pretty color. I really love it. And it goes really, really well with my Opalite Moonstone cabochon. It's really opalite, but it's kind of supposed to look like moonstone, I believe. Okay, so I'm coming out from underneath my gold bead. Now, you're going to sew into either the second bead up here or the second bead down here. It depends. And remember, we're going underneath our form. So I'm going to sew into this second bead right here, but I have to sew into it underneath the form. So I'm actually going to sew through my form and flip it over so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. So I've sewn into that second bead, okay? And then I need to make my way up to this gold bead on the side. So I'm going to go down the next bead. Going to go up the next bead. Sorry, funny angle that I'm at here. Okay, up the next bead. And down the next bead to this side, okay? And then again, I'm going to pick up 5 of my accent beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So again, I've got 5, and I'm doing the same thing again, except that I have made a mistake. I need to make sure that when I come through this bead, that I am going underneath my form, and I was coming out on top. So I just backed up. So again, when you go down that gold bead, make sure that you are coming out underneath. Okay. Learn from my mistakes. Okay, so we've got our 5, and then again, I'm going into the second bead on this side, and I'm going under the form and into that bead, and I'm going to try and do it without looking, but I don't know. Oh, I did it. Haha. Okay, so that is our first form added, our first form made. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew down the next bead and out of the gold bead on the top. And then I'm going to leave a tail that's long enough to just sew in, and I'm going to cut my thread, and I'm going to make another one. But this time I'm going to make sure that when I'm making it, I make the opposite. So just when you get down to whichever side you start on, you may want to hold it next to the other one and go, okay, so on this side I went down, so this time I'm going to go up. Okay, so just make sure that you make different ones, and you're going to make 2 like this, 2 of the opposite, and that way you can have different shapes on your necklace. So you'll need 2 because each side has or if you're gonna make more, there's no reason. I'm only doing 2 of these on each side, but I could continue all the way up. I mean, there's plenty of them in the pack. There's a whole bunch more. It's just that I don't want to do any more. I'm gonna just do this motif the rest of the way, because really you don't even see that much behind your neck. So okay, so I'm gonna do the other one, and then we'll start on our chain. Okay, so once you have finished your 4 or your 2, if you're only doing one side right now, little petals, you can leave your tail attached, because when you're weaving it in, I think it's a good idea, instead of trying to weave it into the brick stitch unit, I've just been weaving it into the in-between units because it's a lot easier to come up and tie a knot, and it also strengthens those connections there, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up here with this unit, and we're going to learn how to build a single unit and then how to join it and pass down and join and build another straight off of it. And then I'm also going to show you how to join onto the bottom here. And what we are going to need to do once we joined our other string, because right now there's only one bead and it can spin around, so we're going to have to just put a little bead in between there to make sure that our petals or our horse eyes stay the right way. And you'll notice I have tons of threads sticking out, but I am a person who likes to just leave them in case I need to reinforce something, and then at the end, you know, I deal with it. So okay, so let's learn how to make our first unit. Okay, so I've just got a comfortable length of thread, and you will probably need to add more at some point. So this is a simple right angle weave little unit. So what we're going to do to begin is we're going to pick up 2 of our gold, and sorry, no we're not. We're going to pick up 1 blue and 3 gold. So 1 blue and 3 gold, and push it down, leaving a 4 to 6 inch tail as usual. And we're going to sew through all of those again. And we're also going to sew through that very first blue bead again. Okay. And that is going to give us our first little right angle weave unit. Okay, and then we're going to pick up a blue, an alabaster, and a blue. Okay, so a blue, an alabaster, and a blue. You're going to go into the blue bead. And then we need to move down to the alabaster bead, so just follow the thread, which is coming out right here. I'm just going to go into the next blue bead and into the alabaster bead. Then I'm going to pick up 3 of my alabaster. Okay. I'm coming out this side of it, so I'm going to go into the opposite side of the same bead. And here's our next unit. So then I'm going to move up the side unit, the side bead, and into the top bead to get to the end of the line. Then I'm going to pick up 3 blue beads. I'm going to go coming out this side, so I'm going into the other side of that bead. Then I'm going to move up to the end bead, so I'm just following the circle around. Okay, so I'm going through the side bead and through the top bead. Just follow your thread path, and then we have 1 more unit to do, which is the gold unit. So pick up 3 gold beads. Coming out this side of that bead, I'm going into the other side of the same bead again, and then I'm going to follow this unit around. So I'm going into the bottom bead, the end bead, and the side bead. Okay, and then here we're going to fill in the gaps. So here we're going to pick up a gold bead, go into the blue bead. and when you give it a pull, it's just going to sit right next to that blue bead, okay? And then we're going to pick up a blue bead and we're going to go into the alabaster bead. Okay, sorry. Okay, so here's my blue bead. Then another blue bead. So you're basically picking up a gold, a blue, and a gold on this side and going through each bead. So we've done gold, blue. Now we're going blue and into the blue bead. Okay, so here's the blue bead that we just added, and then we have to pick up one more gold bead for right here. Okay, and you'll notice that that side is kind of pulling in tighter than the other side. That it's okay. All right, so then we're just going to circle around the end of our unit. So just pass through the gold at the end and then the next gold, and then we're going to repeat on this side. And just keep that tail out of the way for now. I like to tuck it behind, so I've got it looped over my finger and then I'm grabbing hold of it, okay? Okay. All right, so again, we're gonna do gold, blue, blue, gold. So gold, and so into the blue bead. Blue, so into the alabaster bead. Another blue into the blue bead. And then a gold and into the gold bead. Okay, so now we have this. And then what I like to do is go around the whole outside again and just reinforce, because it kind of helps even out the tension I've found. So I'm just going through the end bead and then this whole side all the way through all of those beads on the side. Okay, so you should be going through on the side 2 golds, 2 blues, an alabaster, 2 blues and 2 golds. And then again through that end bead and repeat on the other side, 2 golds, 2 blues, alabaster, 2 blues and 2 golds. And through your end bead. Okay, so now we're going to join onto one of our leaf or horse-eye motifs, okay? So I need to, because I've already done some, I need to check which one I need to join onto for it to be the opposite. Okay, so see how these two are opposites? So I'm going to be joining on at the top here onto this one, and make sure that you have them facing the right way up so that you know the sparkle side is the right side for you. Okay. Okay, so I'm joining onto this one right here where this thread is coming out is where I'll be joining. Okay, let me move this. I'm just gonna lay that like that so I know where I am. Okay, so I'm coming out from the gold bead. I'm gonna pick up 2 of my alabaster beads and push those down. And this unit doesn't matter if this is the front or that's the front, so don't, you know, worry about it. So what we're gonna sew into are these 2 first blue beads here and here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go under, through the blue bead and under our form, okay? Make sure you're going under the form, and then back up through the blue bead over the form. So we're just doing a brick stitch. Then you're gonna sew back up through your 2 alabaster and that very first gold bead. Okay, and then so I'm coming out here. Yours may be turned this way where your thread is coming out. You just need to turn it, okay? Just turn it. So now I'm coming out this side. I'm gonna pick up 2 more alabasters. And then I'm gonna sew into the blue bead on the other side of the gold, and I'm going under my form. See how I'm going underneath? And then I'm going back up through the blue bead, up my 2 alabaster beads, and into the gold bead at the base. And you may need to just kind of massage it a little bit, but that should be it joined. And then see how like this one, this thread that was on here, I can now sew it up into here, tie it off in this unit. Same with this other thread. I'm gonna be able to sew it up into this unit and tie off the thread instead of having to try and tie it off in the brick stitch. Okay, so now all we need to do is make our way down to this end, and then we're going to begin our next unit building off of our leaf. So go ahead, go down through your 2 alabasters in the direction that you're going at the moment, which is this side, okay? And then I'm going to go down into my blue bead, and here it doesn't matter if you come out on the bottom or the top. And then I'm just going to travel along through my blue beads, going up and down till I get to the other side. Okay, and then as I'm going into my very last blue bead here, I'm going to do a brick stitch. So I'm going under the form, and then I'm going back through it on the top. And I'm going to stop right here at the end blue bead, okay? So now I'm going to pick up 2 alabaster, 1 gold, and 2 alabaster onto my needle. So 2 of the alabaster, 1 gold bead, and 2 alabaster. And I'm gonna go into the opposite blue bead over the other side of the gold bead. And I'm going under my form again. And then I'm going up through the blue bead on top of the form. So I just did a little brick stitch again. Just stitched around that form. And I'm going to come back up until I hit the gold bead. And now I am ready to do my next right angle weave unit straight off this gold bead. So you're going to pick up a gold, a blue, a gold. Move forward till you exit from the blue bead. Then you're going to pick up a blue, an alabaster, and a blue. You're going to move up to the alabaster bead. Just follow the line of the beads, okay? Now we're going to pick up 3 alabaster. Then we're going to pick up 3 blue. And then we're going to pick up 3 gold when we get to the end here. And remember to just continue moving forward into that next gold bead. And take your time and try and get the tension as good as you can. And once you're coming out here, we're going to add a gold, a blue, and a gold circle round, gold, blue, blue, gold. So a gold into the side of that unit, a blue into the side of the alabaster unit. Oops, I picked up 2. Another blue, so gold, blue, blue, gold. And circle around. And again on this side, gold, blue, blue, gold. Okay. And then just like I did before, I like to run around the whole unit again. And if you want, you can even reinforce your brick stitch joins here. Okay. And then we will join onto our next little leaf unit. So I will quickly reinforce that. Okay, so I reinforced that unit. I'm coming out from the gold bead. I just need to position my next leaf in the right direction, which that looks right. So we're doing the same thing that we did before. You're going to pick up 2 of your alabaster beads, and we're going to go into the second bead, and I'm going underneath the form so that I can break stitch. So I'm going through the bead and underneath the form, I'm trying to keep my other threads out of the way here. I have a lot of them, so it's a little bit complicated. Okay, and then go back through your blue bead that you came out of on the top, plus the 2 alabaster beads that you just added. And that's one of my tails there. Just pull that nice and tight. Pass into the gold bead at the tip of the little motif here. Okay. And then repeat on the other side. So you're going to pick up your 2 and you're going to brick stitch around that second bead. So I'm passing through the second bead, or the first blue bead, underneath my form, and then over the top of the form back through the blue bead, and back through the 2 alabaster beads and the gold bead. Whoop. Okay, and now I'm going to repeat the same thing again. So I'm going to go down here, wiggle through, and build another form. And once I've done that, I'll come back and I will talk you through joining it onto your cabochon. Okay, so this, depending on how many of these units you want to do, just keep doing it the same way that I've showed you. So I will also show you how to, if you don't want to add more of these, how to join these together. Once I have joined this on here, we'll go through that. Okay, so after I made the original thing, I went ahead and my starting thread that was tied here, I've moved it through here, but I didn't cut it off just because when we're sewing back and forth through here, I don't want it to pull out. So I left it long, which is why I tend to leave my strings, even if they're tied in, I tend to leave them until I know that I'm done weaving in that area, and then I cut them off, because you don't want to have a little tail here and then you're weaving up and down through this bit and it comes out. Okay, so even though it's kind of annoying having a bunch of thread everywhere, just leave it. Okay, all right, so here is a piece that I want to join on, and this is the exact same way that I joined this on. We're going to do it the same way. So all I did was I picked up 1 alabaster bead, okay, and there's 4 gold beads at the top of our cabochon. All I did was I weaved backwards through the first 2 and pulled that nice and tight, and then I went under my form. So we're just doing a little brick stitch here, okay? And then I went back through those 2 at the back to get back to where that alabaster bead is that I just joined on. Now I'm confused as to which one it is. I think it's this one. Yeah, okay. I need to keep this one off to the side so I know it's the right one. Okay, and then you're going to go forward through the 2 and under your form. So go forward through the front 2 and underneath your diamond. And I can't get my needle through. I'm going to need to do a little twisty twist here. There we go. Okay. There's quite a lot of thread in here now, so and then I'm going to go back through those 2 beads at the front of my piece. and up through the alabaster bead as well. The thread I'm using is quite a thick one, so okay. And I'm going to pull all of that as tight as I can get it. And then on my unit here, so coming out the alabaster, I can see that I came out from this side of the gold thread the gold bead initially. So I'm going to go into the other side of that gold bead right there. Okay, and so you're just going to do that same process for both sides. But now I want to stop this from twisting because I want my two fronts to be on the front. So I'm going to figure out where I am. So I am coming out here, which is perfect. If you aren't, you may need to circle around, okay? And then we're just going to add a little joining bead right, maybe two. No, I think one. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm just going to do one bead. So go ahead, move up to your first gold bead after the corner, okay? You're going to pick up an alabaster bead, and you're going to go down through the first bead after the corner on your other side. Just make sure that both sides are facing the front here, because this is what's going to stop them from turning around. And then you're going to go back through that alabaster bead and up through that bead again. So we came out the top, we went down, we went through, and then we're going from the bottom to the top here. So we kind of made a figure of 8. And you're just going to need to get all the slack out of that. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And then what you can do just as an extra reinforcement, because nobody's going to notice, is you can go around this, go down and just slip under your thread right here and back up, reinforce. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because this is a join that's going to get a lot of pressure on it. So I'm just going up around this unit. Back down the side. And then I'm going through that gold bead at the bottom of the unit. I'm going through my alabaster bead, and then I'm just gonna sew under all of those threads there, okay? And then I'm going back up my alabaster bead. On the other side, I'm gonna go through the gold bead at the bottom, and I'm going to reinforce this bead right here. Oops. And then I can go into the top because we've gone into the top and the bottom from this alabaster bead. So I'm just going to go through here again and through that bottom gold bead. Okay, so now that join is all nice and reinforced, and I'll probably sew up the edge here and tie that thread in. So now the last thing we need to know is if we're not going to be joining onto one of our little forms here. How do we just join two right angle weave units together? So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to build another unit. I'll show you. It's really simple. To start it, I would just pick up 2 alabaster, a gold, and 2 alabaster, just like we did right here, except they'll be like more in a line next to each other. And then you're just going to start your next unit. And you can just build infinitely until you get to the length that you need. And then once you've done that, you can obviously tie off all your threads, add whatever clasp you want, and our necklace will be completed. So I will go off and work on that, and I will come back when it is all finished so I can show you guys the results. I just want to come on quickly to show you when you're building off your units here, once you've created your loop of your 2 plus your gold for your next unit and gone back down, and I went around again to reinforce. And then what I'm going to do is I go down through the gold bead here, the blue bead here, the gold bead here, and then back up, and then I'm ready to go. And that just helps strengthen, so it's not just this one bead holding on to everything. You have a whole unit of right angle weave that is holding on to everything. And again, when you're going around your unit to reinforce at the end, so here's my unit here, right? You're going to go around this in a figure. So you're going to do a figure 8. You're going to come up one side, go around, go up the other side, and then you're ready to start your next one. Just so that that one little bead is not holding on to absolutely everything. You know, I like to do figure of 8s when I'm doing right angle weave joins together. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to continue on, make my chain longer so that it will fit around my neck, and I'll come back at the end to show you the final result. Okay, I am back and I have finished my necklace. So here it is, and you can see how I've finished off the chain. So I did 7 of these units, and they have just a right angle weave with 2 of the gray in between, and 7 gave me about 16 inches, and then with my clasp I've got about 17 inches, and then I've also got an extender on. So if that sounds about right for you, then I would say do 7. If you want it a little longer, maybe you're using a different type of clasp, you could do 8. And I, to finish mine off, I did where this unit is, I just did a unit like that. And then I did 2 little 4mm jump rings through that unit. And then I connected that to either my chain, or I got a bigger twisted jump ring to connect on my lobster claw. So that is how I finished mine off. I think it turned out ever so pretty though. I am really, really pleased with how this came out. I think it's really nice. And what I'm probably going to do is using the earrings tops that I got from Beebeecraft, I'm going to make an earring out of this unit here, and you can see how pretty that would be, because the shape of the earring. And yeah, I think I'm probably going to make an earring like that. You could even put, if you had some opalite or moonstone, a little gem dangling at the bottom would be really, really pretty as well. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and also do go and check out our Facebook group. I know it's slowly growing and people love to share their work in there, so you know, go in there, you can see what other people are making and give some encouragement, and that would be great to see you in there. Okay, take care for now. Bye.